Let's get more on stocks on the move. We're joined by Bloomberg's Stephanie Hughes. Stephanie, thanks very much for coming on the show once again. Great to see you. Aya Gold and Silver is on your radar. We did just speak to the CEO. They mine silver in Morocco. What's going on with the stock?
Absolutely, Andy. Happy Friday. So Aya shares are up as much as 14% today, which was the biggest intraday gain in over 2 years. And it's an interesting story with Aya today. Earlier this week, they reported third quarter results that were kind of a disappointment, just given that revenue and gold and silver production fell short of what analysts were expecting. So the earnings initially sent shares tumbling yesterday, but they're now rebounding on the sense of a more optimistic fourth quarter. So a Stifel analyst said that they're expecting a stronger fourth quarter just based on what he anticipates to be higher grades of metals. He also noted that the company had addressed an issue surrounding the hydraulic unit piping. So that ball mill, which is like this big cylindrical device that grates and grinds materials, is now running smoothly. And there's also the silver from the Moroccan projects that you mentioned going into the break there. So there's a lot to be optimistic about. So while there was that initial reaction to the earnings, it seems like investors are looking ahead to what the next quarter could bring there, Andy.
And Denison Mines, we saw a move up in that stock along with some other uranium names today.
Yeah, uranium names are always an interesting story there. So this stock is up over 7% at its highest point, biggest gain in about a month. And like you mentioned, it's moving in tandem with other uranium names today after Russia said it would be temporarily limiting the enriched uranium supplies to the U.S., which, because of supply and demand dynamics, sent uranium prices higher. So the Russian government didn't give many details around the restrictions, but the curbs could potentially hurt utilities that use nuclear power. So that's also sending other nuclear uranium names like Cameco, NextGen Energy, and Energy Fuels higher there. Andy?
Yeah, it is interesting because the Americans, as has happened in the Western world, really have neglected their uranium enrichment industry. It's sort of like rare metals. We just gave up that job to China. And now they're paying the price. The American reactors, apparently about a fifth, you may have mentioned this, about a fifth of America's nuclear power comes from this Russian enriched fuel.
Exactly, yeah. And we've seen this this dynamic happen before where supplies either flooded the market or were withheld from the market. And that's always had an impact on uranium names. And then also, we've got some headlines earlier this year where certain projects were coming online, or there was this big push into small modular reactors, and that's all been having an impact on the names that trade in uranium stocks there.
Stephanie, we will have to jump. Thank you very much indeed. Stephanie Hughes of Bloomberg.